Dr. Benako yanshan komona simfri ho. Ccod. Here ben e ho akọ hia say mo partner Lola group. Na e dey akra na mo dey ba.
Okay, so for the benefit of our partners, so I will speak English.
And for the benefit of the listeners, what do we do?
Yeah, I will quickly wrap up.
Okay, all right.
Yes, the College for Community Organizational Development is a non-governmental tertiary education.
Okay.
So it works like an NGO, but we are an academic institution. But what we do is entirely different from the normal academic institution. So we are more into consulting. We call it university outreach program. So we are more in touch with the illiterates, the semi-literate, and the literates, because that's where the gap is. Every country that needs to develop, you need to focus more on your non-formal sector and then the private sector, because that is the engine of growth. So your activities must focus on building their capacity to generate income. When they generate income, then they can pay taxes. So any country that does not focus on the private sector and the informal sector is likely to have revenue issues. And once you don't have revenue, you cannot do more infrastructure. So the College for Community Organization Development try to train more people in this regard so that they can be empowered, they can have ideas, they can generate income, they can create jobs, and that's what we are doing now. We also have the academic program to train people in organizational development. Organizational development is a 75-year-old program in the US, but it's about 20 years in Africa and Ghana. And we happen to be the first premier university college to introduce diploma in organizational development, Bachelor of Science in organization, and the Master of Science in organization. The idea is to train more community development change agents and train organization development facilitators, consultants. There are a lot of people who have ideas to create businesses, but they don't have the idea of to sustain the business. Because as you employ more people, the organization get frustrated. And like the saying goes, where two or more people are gathered, there's conflict.
Okay.
Yes. So you always have to minimize conflict in a workplace, in a community. That is what affects development and growth.
Okay.
So our intention is to train more of these specialized people so that anywhere they are, they become peacemakers. They become facilitators of change, which we don't have in Ghana. We are training people theoretically. So we opt to train people practically. So that's what CCOD does. We are into academic program. We are into university outreach programs by training more non-formal and formal sectors. Now, as part of our entrepreneurship and innovation programming, we ought to partner with other like-minded people where they can add value to what we are doing so that we can reach more people. So that's how we found Lola Group Turkey. So Lola Group Turkey is an advocate for Africa's development. So they are in Turkey, but their intention is to bring infrastructure development
to Africa.
To Africa. And then we happen to have connected with them and as the representative in the West Africa to begin to support both the private sector and government.
Okay, so CCOD is actually the first
we are the first
to partner
yes, with Lola. So they will give you more about that. But we justify why. We said there's high unemployment rate in Ghana and within the sub-region. There's a lot of infrastructure deficit. And people don't know, including government, don't know how to get investment into the country. And so I have done this for 27 years. So I'm a fundraiser. I know how to convince people to bring development to Ghana. And I've done this over the year, as the chairman of NGOs. I have managed over 400 NGOs for 8 years. Now I'm old man. So I've asked people to do so I can support them.
All right.
So that's how I bring on board for Ghana's development.
Okay.
So my intention is to work with the church. As a Catholic, I work with the church. But I'm not only Catholic. I attended Presby school.
Okay.
So I also have intention to help the Presby, the Methodists,
and other churches.
The Pentecostal,
okay.
all the Pentecostal group, any private church at all that needs development. The intention is that if you help these private groups, their services are reaching the people directly.
Sure.
So it's faster than if you reach bureaucratic system.
Okay.
So that's how it is. If when you make an say, College for Community and Organizational Development, University Soronko. Yeah, yensha abayase. Na yedi adwuma die Soronko kra. Di yetete ababu ne mpanyumfo ewo adwuma ye ho. Ani kuro bia mpuntu. Enti ya kwadara wa mpuntu dwuma ho dwumadie. Na ncheye ena yen kreta kodi ku bia omo Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, from Lola group. No so omo hihye ne omo aniswade hunu abibimamu impuntu.
Okay.
Enti ye the first partner. Yeah, ye no omo di entuma abum. Yeah, ye ba beboa Ghana and West Africa. Enti omo ba beboa CCOD ama yasi ye school die nye hankwa ye bi wo Sunyani ha. Ye bi wo Jirapa Duri Miami Krum. Ni ye bi wo wale ni ye bi wo Kentampo. Enti omo ba beboa si misuku die na mama sebe ya ye betima atete ababu na sebe yese oyonko dano oda mahu say development projects bebre ho a yebetima abo aban na aban so aye any sorry
okay
nti me no madi insawo so ama omo agia tum say apart from me media no ombeboa other projects tisia omo abai omo amaye ntitiye kwan ebefa so aye de proposals ebeba
okay
ewo Lola ewo Turkey na omo so omo boa amaska na ye de ayesa djuma na ni nyina ye say ye boa mampuntu djuma ni adjuma aba oman no mu sebe make 3 campuses here on Babesi young funny pakura nya ni 2000.
Oh, okay.
Enti say ye boa na omo tre omo ntaban mu na say omo boa aban na sisi a school die ne hospitals any akwanya ebema mpuntu djuma aba na amabono afano ntuma pa afra
Right.
ade ba ko a maka kire mo say bono na ye ne ye do aduane e de som Ghana enti omoni ekum agriculture ho enti enche omo abai ye no mo ye nhihye wi a ye be co minister ho ye free minister ho a ye be cottage na yetete mo work Kentampo.
Okay.
Enti bibia me ha bia no mani work Kentampo. Ti ye be cottage ma ko Kentampo na ya samba na ye no mo wie nkrata asem na me de omo ko nkran na omo akoto aso akoteki next week.
Okay.
Enti ubisaya
Sunny
CCO de university esan so boa mpuntu djuma.
All right.
Enti na ye de ahoho abasa omo mfa omo kakra mo won so be boa na mpuntu djuma enkoso wo bono ne Ghana.
All right. Enti Dr. Gabriel Benako Nietenka, but let me go to the vice chairman, Mr. Garish. Could you please get closer to your microphone? So there are a lot of West African countries. Why Ghana and particularly Sunyani?
Well, we do operate in many African countries.
Okay.
Ghana is one on the list that has submitted quite a large number of applications through the good efforts of Dr. Benoku.
Okay. And so, quite apart from the proposals, what did you find interesting to come to Ghana?
Well, firstly, I got invited by Dr. Benoku,
Okay.
and he is our host. what we're doing here, there's another member of the team that's not present at the moment. He's down at Ccod, delivering a lecture on drawdowns, yes.
Project budgeting.
And what Gonzalo and I have been doing is visiting various interested and affected parties. We've also primarily been presenting a couple of guidelines on funding. Our funding encompasses both loans and grants.
Okay.
So in order to get the loans and grants to be plausible, to be acceptable to the funders and the investors, we need to make sure that all of the applicants are submitting their forms correctly and fully.
Okay.
Because the greater the detail they provide in terms of what it is that an investor is looking for, the more chance of success there is.
Okay.
So Gonzalo and I have been also lecturing on items such as what is a business plan, why is there a need for a feasibility report, what are the different types of contracts,
Okay.
who are the parties involved, who are your stakeholders, who do you need to speak to, what steps you need to take down the road into creating a fully fledged business proposal.
All right.
We're looking at things like work breakdown structures, Gantt charts, profiles of the company, financial viability, the viability of the project. And the projects encompass all sorts of things.
Okay.
Lola Group is different to your usual facilitating agent in that many of us are comprised of engineers and architects and planners. In fact, I'm an engineer and Gonzalo is a planner and an architect, and
Great.
Christian is an architect as well.
Okay.
So we kind of savvy in that part of that neck of the woods.
Okay.
So we feel that we can give quite a guided expose to our applicants in terms of plausibility of funding.
Okay. So are you looking at a particular sector?
Well, the applications we've had within Ghana have had to do with a complete diversity of projects.
Okay.
I mean, some of them range from around about 100,000 US, and I think one or two of them are approaching billions of US dollars. I know that in Congo we have projects that are well underway, in the order of 3 billion US dollars. So the smaller projects really relate to the needs of the various dioceses throughout Sunyani.
Okay.
And they have to do with items such as, poverty alleviation, grant funding for victims of the recent COVID pandemic, construction of churches, youth facilities, a couple of youth hostels, community halls, even some churches and even some residences for the pastors and members of the diocese.
Okay.
Then others might involve agriculture, because Lola Group has quite a strong arm in agriculture as well. And we're looking at cassava grants and applications for the larger scale production of cassava, soya, groundnuts, cashew nuts is one that's come across my table fairly recently.
Okay.
And then we also, apart from that, there have been a couple of approaches from governmental organizations such as metros and regional community organizations that are more municipal or regional.
Right.
We do not fund governments per se, but there are special purpose vehicles through which we can fund the projects.
Okay.
So we might be looking in terms of a joint venture arrangement or a public-private partnership. And most of our projects, I think, we will be running on a kind of a turnkey basis.
Okay.
EPCM,
Okay.
which is engineer, procure and construction management, or EPC, which is engineer, procure and construct.
All right.
There are various different models, and the models will be selected to suit the nature of the particular project.
All right. And
So it's infrastructure, building works, and poverty alleviation,
okay.
assistance where there is a need.
Okay. All right. And I was here for Sean Garish, Vice Chairman the Lola Group. No call, but me boni okai ni nyina atofa. Omo basa omo beboa Ghana. Na se oboa nkwankra bi ana se oboa nwuma ko bi a, it goes a long way to help the government. A bit easy pressure wa ban so. But na me bisa sectors a omo hwe. Or say agric sector ka ho ba no banche cashew nsamo a abani table so a couple of times nti hoya baby a omode omani hwe afa infrastructure as a whole cry there Dr. Benakon bobo so a and sorry no ne other organizations a and so kan ho asamti because I was say empanifo na aka no so yeti obi an nti ye ka se ye kireche ni nyina enwo fe kofe kwa e bia na emre no akọ na yentimi ne mpanifo ni nyina ni nkomo so
abi am person meti ho kakra say Lola no omo principle ba ko zero corruption.
Okay.
Enti idea ebe potential ebe create corruption no omo prevent it.
Okay.
Then you any delay performance of infrastructure construction.
Okay.
On the Ghana so the idea of
10 years
near omo person minimum sign agreement.
Okay.
Project bia ya man buy no e 5 years so.
Okay.
Na yeah supervised construction.
Okay.
So
they will not deal directly with government.
For see assemblies no be ba BCC market stores.
Okay.
And housing.
Okay.
And the assembly staff no. But ebe fire so. Say ba yes can be releasing time. Omo no every 6 months be omo yiska. Edi maya.
Okay.
Na edi aboa mpuntu djuma. Say ba ya djuma no be content. Until the project be aban wo no ombe fund but ombe pass it through NGO. Now I'm on our content. Right.
So Mr. Gonzalo, let me come to you. You're the technical director.
Yes.
Why partner with CCOD?
CCOD, we found a reliable partner here in Ghana.
Okay.
And our intention is to help to implement the sustainable development for the capital of this region.
Okay.
And we are looking forward to work together.
All right. So is there anything, is there any specific thing why you chose this year? Because there are a lot of NGOs around here.
I have no chosen. It's an invitation that
okay.
kindly.
Yes, so
CCOD.
Accepting to partner with CCOD, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, since I'm the technical director, my chairman, our vice chairman already explained that.
Okay, okay. So, Mr. Garish, you would have to help us.
Yeah.
Why CCOD? Because there are a lot of NGOs around here.
Well, we find CCOD very credible.
Okay.
And very proactive in the entire process.
Okay, okay. So, Mr. Saidu, let me come to you. How is the future like with this partnership? Could you please speak to the microphone?
Oh, great. The future is like brighter than your office.
Oh, really?
And greater than your day.
my office is brighter, actually.
Yeah, the future is brighter than your office.
Okay.
And greater than the day.
Okay.
I remember when I stumbled on my brother 17 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's been long.
Yes, he told me something and it's still fresh in my mind every day.
Okay.
He said, in 6 months, if you don't see results, come back. And if you have paid me, I'll pay you back.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great challenge.
Yes. And he has been consistent with it. Wherever we go, whatever we are looking for, his 6 months is his 6 months.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell them, both of them, something about astrology when we leave here. He believes in 6 months, and Lola works in 6 months. I'm not sure Gabi has even remembered that connection.
Wow.
Gabi does a training for you. He does a mentoring, a coaching. He does something with you. And his 6 months is 6 months. He says, Bishop, in 6 months, if you don't see results, don't come back to me or don't trust me again.
Wow.
If he does it for a company, he will tell you in 6 months, if you don't see results, come back, I'll pay you your money. You know, so yesterday when we were talking, it was ringing through my mind that why is Lola doing 6 months? And Gabi is always fun about 6 months. So for me, the future is unlimited. The future is brighter. The future is great. For the purpose that we are looking to build and mentor leaders that will use their power to serve, not to use their power to be served. It is a great opportunity to have met with Lola. And you heard them. Trustworthiness and sustainable development.
Okay.
And that is what we are looking up to work with.
All right.
You know, I've been in this region since 95.
Okay.
And nobody told me it was the bread basket of the nation. So if we can do things that will keep the bread basket of the nation functioning and doing well, I think that we should be able to feed this nation and feed our sub-region.
Sure.
There's over 20 trillion market for food in the sub-region alone.
Wow.
We are not going into North Africa, we're not going into South Africa. We are just going into West Africa. And that is how much we can work on. And if you look at the projects that they are talking about, if you increase productivity, you will create jobs. If you create jobs, you will increase employment. If you increase employment, you increase incomes.
Right.
And once this come to play, I'm sure your office will be more brighter than this.
Right. All right.
Complementing what Mr. Jeremiah says, my comment and my perception here is that we have to develop the infrastructure that this region needs to achieve this sustainable development. The potential initially, and what I can see here is the agriculture. No? The agriculture should create a value added. So that means you have to develop the agribusiness to be able to maximize the employment, the production, and stimulate the domestic economy for the local people. To do that, you need to develop the infrastructure. Just now I was analyzing the nearest port that you have from Sunyani.
Yeah.
Is the port of Abidjan. Abidjan, I can see it's a big port. So that means, you know, your products should end up there, but transform already with the value added.
Sure.
To do that, you need a very good highway, road network that reach there.
To harness transportation.
Yes.
And on top of that, in the future, you should have to think about, or we can propose to develop a railway.
Sure.
The railway is the most efficient way of transport. It's 100 times more efficient than a truck. One trip, I can send 1 container from here to the Abidjan port in 1 day, in maybe 4 hours.
Okay.
Because it's the railway is a direct line. There is no traffic lines, nothing.
Yes.
So it's the most efficient.
Yeah.
So that will stimulate the economy in this region and also increase the export opportunities in Abidjan.
Sure.
Abidjan also can distribute to the coastal area of Ghana initially, and many opportunities will arise from this approach.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Enti abusianfo yada so ha kasiman be sensiana no ndo abo me asori. Enti yeba bedi esikasem fam ho komona ye dia sorry, but mame nkai o say boat e wo Sunyani enti ukọ baby na ohia rider you just order for Bolt. Now, over download the Bolt application or App Store and answer Play Store. Now, you use Bolt in Sunyani as your promo code. You get 10 Ghana cedis off your first trip. Into your smart na you see or smartphone ye. Bia baby one you are on low on internet and across or phone on your smartphone. For 0800 400 400 at no call charge. Bolt, the smarter way to move. Now, unim say enra the Black Stars of Ghana. Echi Angola Chomokaba Komo Intimiante. Abrantie Antoine Semenyo Adaroma. Yame Aduma on Monday 27th March. He about return match in Angola. Exactly 4 p.m. Now Go TV said channel 131 obetimia her match we also. Any other international matches say Europe, Africa, baby na real fun any near own take break. This is an opportunity more Go TV no. Mobetimia her money so idea no ye fili ye papa o baba yara. Dial star 759 hash. Na enjoy games hold on Go TV. Love it. Na ye fear the idea. Me can farm say a good year moon some more cosono. It is Betika time. I was say utimi a bet na unya reward 3 times just for joining the family. Inti enjoy Betika triple aquaba bonus no ene. Register and get up to 450% free bet on your first, second and third cash bets. So just like the Bosu, it doesn't get any better. Create Betika account no na enjoy games hold on. Visit betika.com. Now a place to say you're registered with the Gaming Commission of Ghana, not for persons below 18. Gaming can be addictive, so bet responsibly. Betika, home of champions. Now, yes, I heard Dr. Benako, Sasam, Mefama one, I said Lola Fui. Funding, no. Okay. Wona obey and on my own.
Yeah, may can be almost become.
Okay, and a quick one because I'm ready. Yes.
Okay.
Let's talk about the funding. How safe is that?
Okay. So, Garish.
Yes.
You said the funds that Lola provides.
Yes. How safe
Ghana
is the funds?
On.
Yes.
Well, Lola Group won't touch anything that's tainted, so the funds are clean.
Okay.
If that's what you mean.
Yes. And
we work only with highly reputable funders and financiers.
Okay.
And in fact, we've already given our assurances to the Bishop of Sunyani to that effect.
Okay.
We'll be meeting him later today and having a cup of tea.
Okay. And already you've made it clear that Lola do not condone any sort of corruption or something. So how is the monitoring going to be like?
Sorry, how is it the money?
Monitoring.
Oh, monitoring.
Yes.
That is part of our function as well.
Okay.
In fact, we were discussing that under the drawdown yesterday.
Okay.
There's a fee for monitoring.
Okay.
Lola can involve itself in very, very many different aspects.
Okay.
We can act purely as an implementing agent for the acquisition of funding. But as I mentioned before, we comprise of a number of engineers and architects and other such professionals. In that respect, we can do that work ourselves.
Okay.
If a project gets far too big, then we're normally given the right to appoint sub-consultants who would then be tasked with ensuring that the detailed design is sound and compliant, with international and local regulations. We can undertake the monitoring by setting up a group of resident engineers, but obviously this kind of activity would be very much dependent on the nature and the size of our project.
All right.
So, for example, for let's say a church building, we might involve one of our architects, one of our engineers, just to oversee the detailed design that's maybe come in, and we would monitor the construction process to make sure that standards are being followed. And I've seen some places in Ghana where clearly the standards are not being complied with. Simple things like honeycombing of concrete, adequate cover to reinforcement is lacking, and that should not be allowed. So we're very strong on monitoring, because what does it help to spend $100 million on a new hotel that's only going to collapse after 5 years because the reinforcement is compromised.
Right.
Just to explain a bit further, we have a project in Republic of Congo, which is so large that I cannot chew it all by myself. I've been given the minister's approval to subcontract detailed design, site monitoring and construction, and all that Lola Group will do, all that I will do in this instance is program and project manage it.
Right.
So we acting as the policeman for the designers, for the architects, for the contractors, so to ensure at the end of the day a properly constructed project is handed over.
Right. Right. And Mr. Benako.
I just want to add something that I'm sure Dr. Gabriel didn't take notice of it.
Okay.
In Accra, I was talking to a colleague and I mentioned Lola. He said, wow.
Okay.
How did you get them? And this is somebody who works for UNIDO. And he said when they were searching and looking for investment drive for Ghana, they came across Lola.
Okay.
But they could not get Lola to come to Ghana. That was Eric.
I know Eric. Yes.
So that tells you the question you asked.
Yes.
And I know that with the bishops and the bishops conference that Dr. Gabriel and I are working with are very, very networked.
Okay.
So when it comes to clean sources of money, we will not be talking boldly. We won't be here if we were not sure, or if we didn't have the courage and the guarantee. So for us and clean money, I like that Dr. Gabriel said you should ask him to talk about it. And they said their money, they won't do anything that will bring their name down.
Right.
Let me just conclude.
Yes, time now.
When I met the chairman, no, you can still give to. When I met the chairman, it took me 6 months for us to agree.
Okay.
I asked him this. The next day, I asked him the same question. The third day, I asked him the same question. And one thing he told me that I was totally okay was that, Gabriel, any project amount you want for Ghana and for West Africa, like Lola have not worked in West Africa.
Okay.
We are the first
people
to be the rep for all the 16 West Africa countries.
All right.
Yeah, they are in the Central Africa. They are in the Southern Africa. Actually, Sean is from South Africa.
Okay.
A citizen from South Africa, but works with them. He's a teacher, he's a lecturer, university professor in engineering, architecture, all those things. We would like to work with him because we want to create a colloquium for our university when we finish building, which we are going to do it different from the normal architectural work in Ghana. So one thing that they convinced me, the chairman convinced me, is I put them on Zoom with the Catholic Church. And we discussed, they provided evidence, we check and cross-check for the 4th time. And we're convinced that this is a strategic partner.
Right.
And they told us whatever project they can fund, and we have cross-checked that. So currently, apart from working with the church, working with the small NGOs and district assembly, we are going to work with government at the high level so that government can take advantage because they have the capacity to support national projects. So as we speak now, we are in discussion with government. And so by Tuesday, we will have official engagement with government before they leave back to Turkey. So you can be sure I'm not a corrupt person. I have never been corrupted, and nobody can corrupt me.
And you will never be corrupted.
I will never be corrupted. That is part of my family value, and part as a Catholic, I've been trained very well. I cannot fault.
Right. So, Mr. Garish, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just a small correction. I wasn't a professor. I was merely a lecturer in structural engineering.
All right.
But yeah, I agree entirely with what Dr. Gabriel is saying.
Okay.
Our approach is to work with people whose hearts are good. We're not interested in corruption, and secondly, we're not trying to usurp government's role in any fashion.
Okay.
It just needs to be understood that we have to satisfy our financiers' requirements, and they may be a little bit nervous
All right.
of dealing directly with government. But our objective is to supplement